and welcome to the Artist Behind the Music Canadian series. Today we have Natasha Meister with us, joining us from Ontario. She's a pop musician and makes amazing music. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Crystal. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. Well, I'm excited to chat with you and hear a little bit more about your journey in not only music, but in life. It sounds like you've got some cool experiences traveling and living around the world. And I always love talking about international things because sometimes we forget what a big, beautiful world we live in. And it's always fun to explore through stories. So let's talk about kind of how you got started in music and your inspirations and just your early journey at the start of everything.
Yeah,
What got you fired up?
yeah. So I started, in music, I guess, at a super young age already. I was, exposed to a lot of different sounds. Well, mostly actually country sounds from my dad. We would always play like Johnny Cash records and like he was a big country guitar fan. So like he loved, like Chet Atkins, Tommy Emmanuel. He loved a lot of finger picking, like guitar playing stuff because he was actually a guitarist back in the day. And so, my sister, or I have an older sister as well, we were exposed to those sounds, early on. As early as I can remember, maybe 5 or 6 years old. And then soon after we started already singing in our local church at the time, or we were living in London, Ontario at the time. And we started performing. Both my mom and dad were always very encouraging and behind us. My grandparents as well, they used to love and sing with us. I remember singing like hymns around the piano early on in life. And so I was surrounded by music all the time. And then I also picked up the guitar. That was actually quite a bit later. That was maybe when I turned 14 or so, like sort of just before high school, I guess. My dad, obviously watching him play all the time, and he would let me, pick his guitar as well. So I think he could tell that, I had a bit of a passion for it. So then he bought me my first acoustic, and taught me the basics, and I fell in love with it and never put it down from then on. I've just kept doing music ever since then, as far as I can remember. So it's always been a part of my life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's cool that it kind of ran in your family too. It must have been inspiring to have a parent kind of coach and guide you through the world of music, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's they definitely. Yeah, my dad was definitely like he was he led the way for us. So it was really helpful because when you try to just sort of dive into music without not really having any idea, it's a little bit more scary. But my dad had a bit of experience, so that was helpful for us early on.
And do you guys ever sing or play together?
um Funnily enough, no. I mean, I think we did when I was when I was little, but I guess I've become so independent now, and I'm just kind of pursuing my own music, and he's totally like he's supporting me in that. So it's all good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. And let's chat a little bit about your journey through life and kind of where the world has taken you living in different places and bringing you back.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I grew up in London, Ontario, and lived there for pretty much up until I was 18. Yeah, 18 years old, and then I moved to South Africa, a whole different country, continent, different continent, everything. I moved there because my mom is actually from South Africa. That was sort of, it was like more my parents' decision to move at the time. I had the choice of, obviously I could stay here with my older sister, or I could go with them. And so I obviously took the opportunity to, kind of see another part of the world. And it seemed really, exciting to me. I'd never been out of the country at all before. So, moving there, it was a huge change for me, of course. It was a little bit scary, but obviously I was with my parents, so that was good. I got to experience like so many beautiful like cultures and all like this diversity, and also to see so much beauty in this country. Like we were living like right by like the ocean and the mountains there as well, and yeah, and I got to make some really awesome friends in the time and experience that I had there. And I also actually took my music, like in obviously as a solo artist then, because my sister and I would perform together, of course, when we were little, but now it was just me. So it was scary, and I had to, kind of put my big girl shoes on, and like, but it was always like my passion to keep pursuing music. So my dad actually sort of guided me out into the scene as well, which was helpful, like just to kind of take me around to different venues so I could sort of introduce myself and be like, hey, like I want to come play at your venue. And like I'd bring my guitar with me and everything. I'd play them a few songs. And so that's how I kind of got into the scene when I was there. And yeah, and then I guess the word just sort of spread, and I was pretty proactive on the scene for like basically the whole time I was there for 10 years. So yeah, it was an amazing experience, and I got to be in different bands as well. And yeah, I did a lot in my career and my time while I was there.
Cool. And how would the music industry differ in South Africa from Canada?
Um, because I actually just moved back here like like not even like 2 years ago. And then obviously like the whole COVID thing sort of just hit this whole year or past year. So I haven't really like dived into the music scene here proper. I haven't had the chance yet since I've moved back. So it's sort of hard for me to compare per se, but like I mean, I know that Canada has amazing opportunities here. I mean, just look at the amazing artists that come out of the country, right? Like Bryan Adams and Alanis Morissette and et cetera, et cetera. So I know the opportunities are here, and there's some, big names that, that we can really be inspired by. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, right? I mean, being new on the scene, you just sort of have to, reintroduce or introduce yourself, and people will get to know you. And just, I think, just to be proactive, right? Getting out there, I think, yeah, it just takes time. So, I know that that's how it works, because that's when I was in South Africa, that was exactly the experience I had to go through. So I know it's going to take the same, amount of work to kind of get out there again.
Yeah, it's all good though, right? Like it's not like you're starting from fresh, right? You've got
Yeah, I have got the
years
experience.
of
So yeah,
experience and a resume behind you. So
right. That's it.
welcome back to Canada.
You. It's good to be
Yeah,
home again.
yeah, no kidding. And especially during this crazy past year, how was there anything that you pulled out of 2020 into this year, kind of that you found helped make you grow, or what are some positives that you took away from this crazy?
Yeah, 2020 was a crazy year for all of us. And yeah, it was tough. And, especially in the music industry, I mean, for everyone. I mean, I don't want to just be like, oh, just for the music industry, but, yeah, we took a knock as well. And, just not being able to kind of get out there as much and perform has been really tough for me, and I know all the other artists out there. Um, I mean, that's how I basically make my living, as well as doing what I love. I'm grateful for that. But yeah, so I mean, I've obviously some of the good positives that came out of it was that I really focused on my songwriting. Actually, earlier last year in February, I released my sort of first offering since moving back to Canada. It was an EP called Love Confessions, which is actually available on all digital platforms like Spotify or iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, etc. But
Great.
check that out. And yeah, and then just sort of I kept diving into songwriting and just experimenting. I love working on like production elements as well. Like I actually produce a lot of my own songs now these days. So I really love playing around with different sounds and effects, and it's just a whole exciting part of being a creative, a writer, and everything. So yeah, and I guess, or besides all the music and all that, but 2020 I sort of took out of it just to sort of be grateful for, yeah, the little things in life, I guess, as well, right? I mean, yeah, like just to be grateful to be alive, I think is I mean, or that's not a little thing, that's a huge thing, but to be grateful for things like that, and the small things in life. And yeah, just to really make the most of it, because life can be short, right? I think 2020 kind of shook us all a little bit. So I think we've just got to live to the fullest, and yeah, be grateful that we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And it was definitely a huge awakening for everybody, I think, on so many different levels. But yes, don't take moments for granted and live to
Yeah,
the fullest is perfect. How did you
yeah.
find releasing music during last year? Just because everything was online, just that whole shift from live performance and moving to the virtual world, what did you
Yeah.
find that experience to be like?
So thankfully, I actually did release the Love Confessions EP. That was in February, so that was actually just before the whole COVID thing
Right
hit.
before,
So
yeah.
I was like just in the nick of time to get that out there. But I know a lot of artists have been releasing stuff during the whole COVID thing, and but yeah, everything is just online these days anyway. And I think that's sort of the way things are moving. Either way, even if COVID wasn't happening, I think everything is just so online these days anyway, and digitalized. So I did release, or not actually really officially, I just put out like a YouTube video for it. It was sort of a song I wrote actually during the whole COVID thing. It was called The Other Side. It's actually up on my YouTube channel, just Natasha Meister. People can check that out. Yeah, it's just sort of speaking around, the difficult time we were having, as a whole, as worldwide, all of us together in this, right? It was just sort of my way of sort of putting out encouraging words, I guess, for everyone to kind of lift them up during those dark times. So yeah,
Well, it's
that was basically all I released during the time. But
yeah,
yeah, I've been working on the new, so I think there'll be a couple of singles sort of randomly I'm gonna disperse throughout this year now. So yeah, people can kind of start to look out for some new music from me.
yeah, and you just recently released your single Diamond Kiss.
I did, yes,
Hear a
that's
little
right.
bit about that.
Yeah, so that was a song that I was working on for like a good couple of months earlier in or 2020. And yeah, there's actually also a totally self-written and produced song.
Cool.
I did actually re-record the vocals at Cleveland Sound Lab Studios. That's in Bonn, and yeah, and I got to work with a good sort of engineer there. He sort of helped a little bit with some of the production to tweak a few things too. So yeah, he definitely lended a helping hand. But it's a song I'm super proud of how it came out, and it's got like a bit of a poppy electronic sort of vibe to it. Think sort of like maybe sort of like Lady Gaga-ish style, I want to say.
Nice.
I'm a huge fan of hers, so
I love her
I
too.
think people might kind of maybe hear elements of that in there. Yeah, it's got a cool little vibe, and I hope people are enjoying it. And if they haven't heard it yet, they can definitely go check it out on all the digital platforms. Again, it's on iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify, everything. So yeah, go check out Diamond Kiss. It's out.
Excellent. Yeah, so good. So good. So let's dive a little deeper and let's chat a little bit about how do you push through fear and resistance when it shows up for you?
That's a good question. Okay. I push through fear and resistance. I think, that's always a challenge for artists. And I think for me, especially like some of, or most artists, like we all have like these doubts or just like fears that sort of randomly like pop up in our head. I think, well, there's always sort of like that trigger, like something that like kind of puts it off, whether we feel like we let ourselves down, or like, oh, we didn't play our best show, or then you kind of feel, then you sort of start questioning like, oh, am I really meant to be doing this? Like, am I meant to be a musician, or should I look for something else? Like, I mean, I've had those thoughts like, so I can't even count the number of times. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I think the main thing is like you push through that fear because you have that passion. And I think you've just got to like constantly remind, I think it's all about like just giving yourself little reminders of like, okay, why did I start doing music in the first place? I grew up in a loving family, they love music, got passed on to me, and to be able to play music is, a gift, and that's like, that's good enough just to know that. I mean, not everyone can play music. That's like a gift in its own. So, I think sometimes, yeah, you just sort of have to remind yourself like you're doing it because you love it. It's your passion, and to be honest, like, I don't think I could even live my life without having music be a part of it, because it's like in my veins, it's like the blood that flows through me. So it'd be like weird not to, to continue music and to push forward. And yeah, you just can't give up. That's the key.
Key, absolutely. Well, I'd love to hear you play some tunes if you're ready.
Yes, I am ready. I was warming up just before we started chatting, so I think I should be good to go.
Excellent. Excellent.
Okay. All right, so so this first song I'm gonna play is actually off of the EP I released earlier in 2020, the Love Confessions EP. So this is the single off of it called Queen of Your Heart. When we're together, me and you, it's getting better. We're on the move, nothing can stop us. We are one, just crazy lovers, chasing the sun. We won't surrender to anything or anyone. They will remember the day we conquered. You'll be the king and I'll be the queen of your heart, queen of your heart. Building our own empire, we watch you rise up, watch you rise up. If you want that, we gotta fight for it. We go to war, the crown's hanging off our hands. You'll be the king and I'll be the queen of your heart, queen of your heart. You never listen to what they say, but bold ambitions, you ride away into the shadows, search for the light, taking the high road, we're gonna climb, we won't surrender to anything or anyone. They will remember the day we conquered. You'll be the king and I'll be the queen of your heart, queen of your heart. Building our own empire, we watch you rise up, watch you rise up. If you want it bad, we gotta fight for it. We go to war, the crown's hanging off our heads. You'll be the king and I'll be the queen of your heart, queen of your heart. And I will move heaven and earth, nothing will come between us. And I will always put you first. Whoa, they will hear the thunder roar. Should kingdom ever fall, you'll just start over. Oh, queen of your heart. Oh, be the king and I'll be the queen of your heart. Building our own empire, watch you rise up. Oh, you want it bad, we gotta fight for it. Go to war, the crown's hanging off our heads. Be the king and I'll be the queen of your heart, queen of your heart. Thank you.
Woo!
My voice kind of died.
I'm so glad you sang that song. That's actually one of my favorite songs of yours. I love it. It's just a song that really makes you feel good. And there's just certain chord progressions and certain like tones of vocals for me that I hear and I'm just like, yes. And I feel that in your song. So thank you for singing that one.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Do we have time? We have time for one more?
Oh yeah. Let's do another one.
Okay, awesome. All right, sorry. We need a little more water.
Hydration is key. That's one of my biggest tips in life is Drink lots of water. Cheers.
Cheers.
Electrolytes and water.
Absolutely. Hydrate, hydrate.
hmm Hydration is so important. Just a tip to everybody watching. They say drink 8 glasses a day. I say drink like 12 or more. Especially if you're talking all day, like if you're working on Zoom now, or if you're a singer, a musician watching, you need more water than the average person. So drink up, hydrate those vocal cords.
Drink up.
That's right.
All right, so this is my single that is out, of course. And I'm gonna do a little stripped down version of it. So a little different vibe, but I hope you guys enjoy it. It's called Diamond Kiss. Now feel alive. Oh, got me on cloud nine. Oh, brought my dreams to life. Oh, I hope this feeling will last forever. I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. I'm mesmerized by your diamond kiss, burning light. Oh, you're holding me like this. I'm in hell. Your lips are on my lips. Moment of bliss. Give your diamond kiss, kiss. Mm-hmm. Kiss, kiss. Can you feel my heartbeat when you're right beside me? Oh, I'll be the one and only. Just take my hand and we'll run together. Love is like an ocean. Oh, just give me your devotion. The world set in motion. I hope this feeling will last forever. I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. I'm mesmerized by your diamond kiss, burning like a fire. When you're holding me like this, I'm in paradise. When your lips are on my lips, it's a moment of bliss. When you give diamond kiss, kiss. Oh, kiss, kiss. Oh, I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. I know that it's a risk, but I want your diamond kiss. Oh, I'm mesmerized by your diamond kiss, burning like fire. When you're holding me like this, I'm in paradise. When your lips are on my lips, it's a moment of bliss. When you give diamond, oh, you give diamond kiss, kiss. Oh, kiss, kiss. You give your diamond kiss, kiss. You give your diamond kiss.
Yeah. I love hearing strong stripped down like that. It's always nice to hear the root of it. Sounds great.
Yeah, the root of how the song began, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's always so nice to come back to that, the early stages, the beginning. It's always cool to listen back to like early mixtapes or like just demos on your phone of a song that, becomes fully produced. It's so cool to hear how it started and, what it
Yeah,
went to. I always love that.
yeah, the journey.
The journey, that's right. And you were saying you produce all your own music as well. So did you just self teach yourself, or did you go to school, or?
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, I never went to school for that. I mean, I just learned some things online, but mostly self-taught, I guess. I listen to a lot of music, so I get ideas and I sort of just learn from, yeah, listening, I suppose, and kind of just
Cool.
taking ideas and trying to make it my own, of course. So, yeah, mostly self-taught with that,
That's
producing it
awesome. Do you
myself.
have any tips for other artists that maybe want to get into producing their own music?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you can, yeah, just start simple. Like I started using Garage Band on my MacBook. So that's a really easy, accessible tool to use, and it's pretty easy to learn. And there's so many tutorials, like even just online, to sort of guide you in the basic steps at the beginning. And to be honest, yeah, just sort of it takes time. So like, you know, you don't kind of figure everything out. You know, the first time you're sitting down in front of your computer, you know, coming up with production ideas. You know, it's you kind of learn one step at a time, like how to, you know, create a beat or how to come up with a cool like piano or synth line or I don't know, yeah, things like that. So yeah, you sort of just do one thing at a time and but have fun with it and just you know, you always also you come back and you revisit. So it's never like oh you're gonna produce like a whole song like in one sitting. It's gonna you know yeah you sort of just break it into little chunks and sort of whatever you can manage, but enjoy the process. I think that's also yeah the main thing.
Yeah, that's great. A great tip. Well, it's been so great having you on the show. I am so excited about your new song and all the other exciting things that you have coming up for you this year. I do like to close with the question all the time. If you had one message to share with the world, what would it be?
It would be to yeah just to share love and peace and kindness. Be very kind to people. I think, especially during, you know, we had a tough year, and I think we just a little bit of kindness goes a long way. So yeah, just give out positive vibes and be nice to people. That's it.
Completely. Be nice to people, be kind,
Yeah,
share love. That's beautiful.
share all the love. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show. It's been great chatting with you, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thanks so much, Crystal. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate it.